welcome to the channel, and in this video I'll be going over my Marvel Cinematic Universe Phase 3 collection. I'll be going in chronological order. I hope you enjoy the video. The first movie in Phase 3 was Captain America Civil War, and this is in my top 5 MCU movies. I bought this at Target because they had an exclusive bonus feature, and it came with a 1-month free trial to Marvel Unlimited, their digital comics app. If you haven't seen my Phase 2 collection video, please do, and maybe subscribe while you're at it. But the exclusive bonus features for these movies were digital only, and not only digital exclusive, but exclusive to Disney Movies Anywhere, which is no longer available. But to my surprise, the bonus feature is still accessible, but only on Movies Anywhere. It's a brief featurette outlining Bucky's journey from the first 2 Captain America movies, and Bucky is one of my favorite characters in the MCU. He's had a really great arc, and his relationship with Steve is the most endearing in the entire MCU. I get choked up every time he tells Steve that he's with him till the end of the line in that flashback scene from Winter Soldier. This Blu-ray does come with over an hour of bonus features, which is rare to say, especially when it comes to a Disney home video release. Next is Doctor Strange, and once again I bought this at Target, but I've actually got good news. The exclusive bonus feature is still accessible on Movies Anywhere, so we are 2 for 2 so far. This movie also debuted the Cinematic Universe Edition banner, which Disney still puts on MCU movies to this day, but does it really add prestige to their movies? Fuck no. But this release does have quite a few bonus features. I wish I had a 3D TV to watch this, because I remember this movie actually being fun to watch in 3D. I know this movie was a bit of a passion project for Marvel Studios president Kevin Feige, and they did a great job introducing mysticism into this universe. And I'd say after Guardians, this was also another big swing for Marvel. I read Jason Aaron's run on the character to get familiar with the character, and he's become one of my favorite characters in the entire Marvel universe. Next up is Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2, and yes, I bought this at Target because it came with an exclusive bonus featurette, and we are 3 for 3 folks, because the bonus feature is actually still available on Movies Anywhere. I mean, it's just a brief featurette on the Ravagers, but any additional information on a film I'll take any day. This movie was also the first MCU movie to get a 4K release, and it's the first MCU movie to not get a 3D Blu-ray. Disney would move on from 3D to 4K, which has become the premier format. Anyway, Guardians 2 is a good follow-up to the first one, plus any movie would always benefit from having Kurt Russell in it. The soundtrack, which also plays an important part in these movies, is on par with the first one. I loved how they used Mr. Blue Sky in the opening scene, and James Gunn's use of The Chain by Fleetwood Mac was also well done. I recently double-dipped on this movie so I can get the bonus disc that was available only at Walmart. It's got a whopping 12 minutes of bonus features, and it's only superfluous information, so I kind of wasted the $12, but I had to know what was on the bonus disc, and to inform you listeners, which I'm sure you were just dying to know about. Next is the Marvel and Sony joint venture Spider-Man Homecoming. Target put out this super cool exclusive that came with a bonus disc and a comic book and housed it in this sturdy hardbox case. It's one of my favorite releases of any of the MCU movies. The bonus disc is just one long featurette on Spider-Man's Rogues Gallery, which is hosted by Kevin Smith. It's a good featurette, and Spider-Man has one of the best Rogues Gallery in all of comics. I would say Batman's is a little better, but I'm also a Batman fan. I haven't read much Spider-Man, and I should change that. Leave a comment on which stories I should check out. This movie was a huge step up from the Andrew Garfield movies, which have just aged worse as time goes on. Tom Holland has become my favorite actor to play the role. I mean, I loved Toby in the role when I was younger, but to me, Tom actually feels like a high school student, and it also helps that he gets to interact with the greater Marvel universe. His scenes with Tony Stark are great, and they are few and far between, so it still feels like a Spider-Man movie.
Everyone else said I was crazy to recruit a 14-year-old kid.
I'm 15.
No, this is where you zip it, all right? The adult is talking.
And I also need to shout out to Michael Keaton as the Vulture. He was great, and I like that they really filled out the film with Spider-Man villains, but it never felt cluttered like Amazing Spider-Man 2 or Spider-Man 3. Next is Thor Ragnarok, and this was also a Target exclusive, but they abandoned the digital bonus content in favor of including a booklet on the making of the film. The booklet is just excerpts from the Art of the Film books that get released with each of these films. They include behind-the-scenes photos, concept art, and interviews with the cast and crew. Those books are always just super expensive, but I'm sure they get super discounted on Amazon. Anyway, this film is one of those films you can show to anyone that doesn't like or isn't into these films, and they can still enjoy it. I guess you can call it an MCU gateway film. I would say it's one of the funniest MCU movies up until Deadpool and Wolverine. Taika Waititi really brought his voice to this movie. It's similar to James Gunn's Guardians movies because it doesn't feel like a movie that was made by a committee. Only Taika could have made this movie. Also makes great use of the Immigrant Song by Led Zeppelin. It's just a fun adventure from start to finish, and it's one of my most rewatched films in the MCU. Next is Black Panther, and once again I bought this movie at Target because it came with a booklet on the making of the film. This release only came with a Blu-ray. They normally are always some sort of combo pack, but that's not really a deal breaker for me. This movie does come with a very cool special feature called From Page to Screen. It's a roundtable discussion with comic book writers, along with a couple of the filmmakers, including Ryan Coogler, and they discuss the character's comic book history and everything leading up to his big screen debut. I wish Marvel did more special features like this. Also, it's good corporate synergy because now you know which comics to check out. All the special features are pretty short and brief, which is now the new norm for these movies. So Disney or Marvel, if you're listening, could you at least put some more effort into your special features again? I'd really appreciate it. Next is the epic crossover film, Avengers Infinity War. Once again, I bought this at Target, and what can I say? I'm a sucker for cool packaging. I really love the artwork because it looks like an actual painted piece of art. I mean, maybe it's just a good Photoshop job, but it's still pretty to look at and resembles a comic book cover you'd see for one of their epic crossover events. This came with the booklet as well, and this was only available in 4K, as opposed to the previous two releases, which were just Blu-ray exclusives. So Disney got me to pay a few extra dollars for this exclusive, but unlike Black Panther, this was a combo pack. One knock that I have against this release is that there is a digital bonus feature that has a roundtable discussion with a few of the MCU directors that I wish was on the disc itself. Like, why didn't they just put that on the release itself? But it is a cool discussion that features the Russo brothers, Joss Whedon, Peyton Reed, Ryan Coogler, and Jon Favreau. Following Infinity War, we got Ant-Man and the Wasp a few months later, and yes, I picked this up at Target. It's a 4K and Blu-ray combo pack once again, and comes with the making of booklet. This movie was a good palate cleanser, I would say, after Infinity War. It's another fun heist film, and Paul Rudd is one of the most likable actors working in Hollywood today. I like that they gave Evangeline Lilly a more prominent role, and she gets to kick some ass this time around. The villain is a little bit of a step up and has a little bit more of an added dimension to her character. I'm excited to see Ghost return in the new Thunderbolts movie. This movie also brought Michelle Pfeiffer into the MCU as the original Wasp, which was a nice addition. The special features are okay on this release, but the making of featurettes only amount to about 22 minutes, which is fucking weak, Disney. Next up is Captain Marvel, and this was the first female-led movie in the MCU, which sounds kind of bad to say, given how many films we've covered so far. I was excited for this movie because I like the director's previous works, like It's Kind of a Funny Story and Mississippi Grind, but this movie kind of let me down, but that's not to say I didn't enjoy the movie overall. I think it's pretty solid, but I was expecting this movie to be great. I did enjoy that this took place during the 90s, and it has probably my favorite Stan Lee cameo, with him going over his lines for his upcoming role in Kevin Smith's Mallrats, which is my favorite Kevin Smith movie, by the way. The de-aging of Sam Jackson was good and not distracting whatsoever. Ben Mendelsohn was great as always, and if you haven't seen the Australian film Animal Kingdom, I'd really implore you to watch that. It's such a great film. The special features are pretty putrid on this release, with most of them being only 3 minutes, and if you add them up, the total runtime is a little over 20 minutes. And if you were wondering if I bought this at Target, yes I did. Next is the film that was a culmination of 10 years worth of storytelling, and somehow it miraculously didn't fall short of exceptional. It's one of the best movies in this entire series, and maybe my favorite. The 3-hour runtime just flies by, and there's not a scene where I'm like, that could have been cut out. I would even take a longer version of this movie, that's how much I enjoy it. I wish the special features were 3 hours in length, but when you add them all up, it's about 45 minutes. Not bad considering the previous releases could barely make it over 20 minutes, but for this movie, it's like, why not just go all out and make a documentary on the journey that Marvel Studios went on to make this ambitious cinematic universe and have 20 films all leading up to this that's never been done in cinema before. Once again, I'd like to reiterate that Disney fucking sucks when it comes to home video and deserves a kick in the balls for not putting out a banger of a release for this film in particular. That being said, this Target exclusive is a nice addition and features the original 6 Avengers on the inside packaging, and this is easily superior to Best Buy's Steelbook that they put out. The movie to close out Phase 3 was Spider-Man Far From Home, and this is the first non-Target exclusive to be featured in the video. Pretty exciting, right? I bought the Best Buy exclusive Steelbook because I just like the artwork more than what the other major retailers had put out. This movie works great as a sort of epilogue to Endgame, but also another great Spider-Man adventure, and once again they went with a villain that I feel like most Spider-Man fans wanted to see in Mysterio, which was played amazingly by Jake Gyllenhaal. It's a great movie to round out a great phase for the MCU. Overall, I think this might be Marvel's most impressive phase, with all these films tying together and culminating in an epic film that lives up to every sense of the word. The MCU has been on a little bit of a bumpy ride ever since, but here's hoping we get some more awesome stories and great characters in the future. I'll cover Phase 4 sometime soon, but until then, have a movie time.
I'm with you to the end of the line, pal.